Star Trek Beyond, like Star Trek Into Darkness, is a Star Trek movie in name, not necessarily in substance. Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, and Carl Urban reprise their roles as the futuristic triumvirate, Kirk, Spock, and Bones, respectively. They are 3 years into their 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before. In Beyond, they go where only some men have gone before, the Nebula, where they encounter an evil former Star Trek officer named Krall, one of the first Starfleet captains. After he and his crew go missing in space, he becomes bitter and confused by humanity's newfound peace with its enemies. Originally a soldier, Krall believes that conflict and struggle made humanity strong, and his isolation in the Nebula is the exact same fate that Captain Kirk contemplates in the beginning of the movie. What is the purpose of exploring an everlasting universe that is believed to be forever expanding? Captain Kirk questions the possibility of finding the end of forever, and worries that he will be lost in space, much like Krall. Star Trek is known for asking thought-provoking philosophical questions from the perspective of humanity, but Beyond quickly abandons its inquiry for the thrill of crash, boom, bang. It's difficult these days to make a cerebral, big-screen science fiction movie with the backing of a major studio without including a nauseating use of special effects. But Star Trek Beyond, much like Star Wars The Force Awakens, does a good job of balancing the non-stop action with brief but powerful moments of humanity. The best scenes in the movie are between Spock and Bones, who do not nearly get enough screen time together, often acting as the superego and id to Captain Kirk's ego. The tug-of-war between reason and emotion is superior to any intergalactic spaceship battles. There's a great scene where a critically injured Spock tells Bones, "Fear of death is illogical," to which Bones replies, "Fear of death is what keeps us alive." This is Star Trek, humanity's obsession with knowledge contrasted with an existential sense of human emotion. This is what made Star Trek so great in the 60s. This is what is keeping it Star Trek in the modern day. The majority of the movie takes place on a planet that inhabits the nebula, which fortunately has an inhabitable atmosphere with oxygen and no present natural disasters like volcanoes or avalanches or harsh and extreme weather. It really works for the plot. They team up with an orphan scavenger named Jayla, who helps them stop Krall before he can use a bioweapon capable of genocide on the Starfleet base named Yorktown. The movie moves at light speed, and though the camera work is not as fluid as the previous 2 installments, director Justin Lin keeps the fast-paced adventure on pace with its plot, rarely rushing to the next scene. The plot never seems to inexplicably move forward, and Lin does a solid job of focusing on the relationships between the crew of the Enterprise, where we get some of the best moments from the film. The cast is terrific, even though I can't watch Chris Pine without thinking about the alternate universe where Chris Pratt was casted as Captain Kirk. It should have been Chris Pratt. I mean, just look at him. Come on. That's young Shatner. The movie is bright, shiny, and visually stunning, but at this point in filmmaking, special effects have an oversaturation of adulation. We've seen this all before. Style over substance is the motto that I live by. But when I want to get lost in a movie, I want to feel like I belong in that world, and that only works when the movie has a pulse. I'm not saying that this movie did not have a heart, but it did feel like a season finale of the original series rather than a raw mid-season entry where the focus is on the drama. I think Star Trek fans need to stop expecting a cerebral Star Trek movie and turn to the upcoming TV series Star Trek Discovery, where they will have more time to develop their characters socially and politically. Movies are supposed to make hundreds of millions of dollars on their budget, so there's no time for philosophical discussions and political dramas on the big screen for a science fiction film. Still, this movie is very fun, and I will take it for what it's worth, a 9 out of 10 for me, and the best summer blockbuster of 2016. It is a really fun film. Idris Elba is a terrific entry to the Star Trek rogue gallery of villains, and it's worth seeing.